Hello, everyone. It's FDM Learn here, and if you're just joining, do well to share this video. We're going to get into it very quickly, very soon. So before we get into it, do well to share this video. Share it to all the groups you know. Share it across the board. Share it to everybody, and then we're going to talk about the topic this moment that we should be talking about, and it's going to be a very educating section, and we're going to talk a lot about what's trending now.
We talk about
Okay, so now
certain things. You see, I used to argue with my professors on the topic why
just take a
investment
listen and then I'll get into it.
has not moved to developing countries, despite the fact that they have robust of
Now, some of you must have seen the video. I'm not going to allow it play for too long, but you must have seen it. You must have heard about it. And then you might have been wondering what's going on. What's going on? This video went viral. Now, let me show you why these things happen. Let me tell you why these things happen. Now, you ask yourself, is real estate in Nigeria actually a scam? Now, let's talk about GText. Let's talk about the truth no one tells you about real estate, okay? There's been a lot of talk about Stephen Akintayo, GText, and whether real estate in Nigeria is a scam. So today we're going to get real. I'm going to break it down to you what developers actually do and why people feel cheated and how to educate yourself properly about land deals before you get into them. So by the time you're through with this session, you'll be able to tell what is real, what is not, what is just shiny and made to make you part with money, and what is actually substance. And then the process behind all of these things. Is it a scam? Is it something that you should get involved in? Is it something that you should avoid? So in this live session, I will educate you on how these models, real estate, actually works. Do you understand? First and foremost, the GText controversy. That's what brought us here. So what's really going on? Some people call it a scam. Some people say he collected money from them, he under-delivered, he did that. But let's break it down. Many Nigerians don't really understand the land banking model, okay? They buy in cheap, buy in bulk, force appreciation, field development, and all of that. Many Nigerians don't understand it. And just like something you don't understand, there's every tendency for people to venture into it and then see something they didn't understand and then call it a scam and all of that. So I'm really going to place it on the burner for you to understand what is behind the real estate. Now, this is not new, okay? Developers all across the world, that's how they make money. But the problem with the model in Nigeria is where there is a lack of clarity given to the buyers. Most Nigerians do not really bother themselves too much with reading fine prints in agreements and in details. And some of these details need to be clearly spelled up front. Do you understand? So that people can know to avoid or to get involved or what they are getting involved in. But most times it's placed in agreements that you sign and you don't know. So it's not really something that is clear to most investors or people that buy from the get-go, probably because they didn't read the fine details in the prints of the agreement they signed, or they were, the price of the land was too unbelievable for them, and because it was that cheap, they were carried away, the euphoria of buying. I've been a victim myself, okay? I remember one time there was a real estate development before Dangote refinery started. In fact, before Dangote, just at the point where Dangote was about to acquire that stretch of land in Ibeju-Lekki. I was just new into the business. I was just getting into real estate. I had some money set aside, and then somebody close to me reached out to me and said, there's this property somewhere. I don't want to call the name of the place, but it's just by the junction of that Dangote refinery road when you're coming from Lekki Epe Expressway. If you know Lagos very well, it's just by the junction. It's a very massive estate. And she reached out to me and this thing is going very cheap now. At this point, it's just a 4 million naira for a plot, about 600 square meters. I was like, oh wow, that's a good deal. Oh. One, I got involved, I paid and all of that. The next thing, and then they started talking about development levy. I was like, you guys didn't make mention of this. You didn't read the fine prints. We sent it to you in the agreement. So that's why I'm making you understand, because I've also been a victim of it, a real life experience. Although land in that place now is way, way more higher than the amount I'm telling you now, because this was some years back. Okay. Land is still in my name and all of that. And then we were doing what we're doing with that anyway. But I was a victim of it too. So that's why I think this live session is very, very important. So if you're just joining us, do well to share the video, and now let us see the real cost of buying cheap land in estates. Now, those 1.5 million naira plots, those 2.5 million naira plots, they're very cheap, right? And they're in an estate. But that's not all you're paying. That's not all you're paying. There's something called development levies. If you buy a freehold property, you don't get to pay development levies. And I'll go into freehold and all of that later on. I'll educate you on that. Now, after, depending on the caliber of development in the estate, development, depending on the character of the realtor you're dealing with or the organization you're dealing with, development levies can go as high as 3 million, 5 million. In some estates where I've had to get involved before I decided to stop doing this kind of model of investment, we've paid up much as even 25 million for development levy in some estates. Yes, land value or land cost was actually way, way less. Land cost was way, way less. Way, way less. Land cost was about 5 million, and then development levy is almost times 4 the price of the land. So what you're paying for the property is not just that 4 million you paid. And then when people get to see it, because they didn't understand the model in the first place before they got involved, you didn't tell me this. You said it's a scam. It's this. Because at that point, you have two options. They sell the land and give you your money back, because at that point, maybe your money has been held for about 10, 15 years or even 5 years. So they sell the land, the developer sells the land and give you your money back, or you'd have to pay the development levy. Those are the two options. And either way, you lose. Okay? Either way, you lose, because now you've had money tied down for years, and then you're not getting to know that, oh, you have to pay some certain amount of money at the end of the day that you were not informed before. You see, and there are even legal fees, there's the survey fees, and they can as well to decide to do infrastructure fees, allocation fees. So what's really 1.5 million or 2.5 million that looks really, really cheap isn't really cheap. The problem isn't the cost, actually, because sometimes the values of this property usually skyrocket mainly after they go on sale, because of some reasons I would let you know in the live session as we go on. Now, the problem isn't the cost, it's the communication. You buy land expecting freedom, right? But it comes with heavy obligations. So you need to investigate before you invest. Okay. Now, let me give you the various kinds of investment in real estate available for those of you that are just getting into it, so that you are properly informed about what you're getting. Now, tomorrow you don't start calling people scam, you can start telling that this person is a scam. No, you were not patient enough to investigate. You were not patient enough to ask the right questions, or probably you even asked, or they even told you, but you didn't pay attention enough to listen. And you know something about real estate developers, most times they are not the ones selling to you. They have agents who have commission. The work of an agent is to sell. He won't even want to tell you some of these things so that you don't get discouraged and you won't buy. I'm talking from the agent angle. Now the company now begins to get blamed for it, or the real estate developer begins to get blamed for it. But in actual sense, the marketer that sold the property to you did not properly educate you, because every real estate developer makes it known that you are going to pay development levy, because this estate, I'm going to do roads, I'm going to do lights, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do infrastructure and all of that. So how do I pay for that? Your land, you're just paying for the land. We need to do all of that at the end of the day. So they tell the marketers shield you away from that information until you have bought, because the moment you buy, they get their commission. I'm revealing something deep to you guys tonight. So if you're just joining, share the video. At least that's the only thing you can, that's the only way you can get to say thank you. Okay, so now let's go into the various kinds of land holdings you can get in real estate. Number one is freehold. Freehold means that you own it outright. mostly in villages, in private sales. When you buy a land through they give you a deed of conveyance, and then you need to just start processing your C of O and all of that. That's I think I need to close this video now. How do I do that? Okay, well, I really don't know how to do that, so I'm just going to remove. Good. So now, just like I was saying, you now have a deed of conveyance, a survey plan from the government directly. That's a freehold property. You own it outright. It has its disadvantages. I'm not going to get into that in this life. And it also has its advantages. It's freehold. You don't need to pay a dime again. The only thing you might need to pay is what they call land use charge. If you're in Lagos, just a moment. I want to keep this name. So if what you might need to do is maybe pay a land use charge. Usually government usually charges this. This is for freehold properties. You just need to pay this. Usually it's just a fee. Sometimes you pay yearly. Very, very low price or very, very cheap. This is for one of our properties in somewhere around. So that's the only thing you need to pay for a freehold land. Now for leasehold or allocation, leasehold is common in estates. Do you understand? Or allocation. It's common in estates. For example, estates like Nikon Town in Lekki and a few other places, you are allocated a plot, but with rules, with time frames, and with levies. Okay. So now for leasehold or allocation properties, there are either maintenance costs associated with that property you buy, maybe annually. There's development fees associated with it. Usually development fees is usually a one-off fee you pay before you start developing the land, maybe for roads and for other infrastructures to the place. So the only way to actually gauge what you're going to be spending on the land, particularly in estates, is to clarify with the developer beforehand. Let me have all I need to pay. I want to pay them now. And then they tell you, okay, the land itself is 4 million naira, your development levy is 6 million naira, your monthly rent charge or monthly maintenance charge for waste management and the rest in the estate is so and so amount. And then from there, but it changes. You see that those monthly revenue usually changes, so they can't just give you a fixed rate. So that's how it works. That's a leasehold or allocation. Anytime they tell you they're doing allocation or there's going to allocate the property to you, just know that you're buying an allocated plot with rules, with time frames, and with levies. Ask outright, what's all the levy I need to pay? That way you're in the clear of what you're getting involved in. Don't just look at the first initial payment and rush to invest or rush to pay, or you just look at the total. No, ask questions, okay? Now, let me tell you how developers force appreciation. That's they force the value of the land to increase. For example, there's a bush somewhere. Usually, you won't go to a bush to buy land because you'll be the only one living there. Nobody's going to pay maybe more than $1 million for a land on the express road in a bush where nobody lives, because nobody can go there to inhabit at that point. It is not developable yet. So what developers do is they buy land in hectares, they do the fencing, they do the gatehouse, and probably do roads. And usually that land is what, maybe like 800,000 or 600,000 somewhere before. The price appreciates immediately to something like 6 million, 7 million, because at that point they've brought people, usually like 200 people, to come and live in a place. So you forced development into that place, and that's how development is forced. Even in Banana Island in Lagos, this is the model that was used actually. Do you understand? Developers buy the land, do fencing, prioritize it. Now, you, the buyer, will now play the rates. Well, some might want to call it an inflated rate, because something that was what, maybe 800,000, all of a sudden, because you did fence and gatehouse and probably just graded the road, is now up to 6 million just overnight. The land value rises, not because there's a market demand for it, because at that point nobody is interested in actually coming to stay there. For example, somewhere like almost everywhere in Lagos is almost out of, you can't get land to bank in Lagos anymore, except maybe in Badagry area, Ikorodu, those areas. Those are the only areas left in Lagos. I'm giving you some real estate investment tips for free right now. I should be paid millions for this. But that being said, now the developers increase the land value, and you get to pay the increased land value, not because any infrastructural development has come to that place, or because there's a market demand for plots in that place, but because the developer now says so. So what this means is that the land value is actually tied to what the developer ties it to. If they say it's worth 20 million, at that point it's worth 20 million. If it's worth 15 million, it's worth 15 million. So how do you avoid being burnt? Ask yourself a question when you want to invest. Is this a freehold or allocated estate land? If it's an allocated estate land, get the full cost breakdown upfront. What's the land fee? What's the levy? What's legal? What's documentation? Then, where possible, do a physical inspection. If you're not in country, you might need to have them do maybe a video, a location stamped video. You can do that with Google now. Location stamped video that shows you the exact location where they are showing you. Yes, ask your the organization to do that, to have somebody do that for you. Okay, and then work with transparent companies who give you the complete picture, not marketing agents who just want to sell very quickly. Let them give you the full picture. Sometimes it's a very, very good model to make a lot of money from. I kid you not. And sometimes you could get your fingers burnt. So if you take these 4 steps I've given you now, you will avoid getting your finger burnt. Ask yourself, ask the estate agent, ask whoever is selling to you, is this freehold or an allocated estate land? If it's an allocated estate land, what's the full cost breakdown upfront? Land, levy, legal documentation. Then do a physical inspection. Yes, you can do physical inspection virtually now. When I mean physical inspection, you might not need to be there in person. Physical inspection can be done like a virtual tour of the place physically. If it's an off-plan property, then you might not need to do a physical inspection. You just need to get an agreement that states a time frame for the development to be handed over to you. Okay, and then work with transparent companies that give you the true picture. Now, what do we do at Frangipani Property and Homes? We do it. We tell you, if it's an estate, we tell you the levy up front. We don't sell fake promises. We tell you, if it's a joint venture, we build it with you and show you the real numbers, show you what is coming out from it, show you what's expected. If it's a short let, we give you a plan, we give you the return on investment, we give you full documentation, okay? And we make sure that we take it to your level. You understand? No jargons, no plenty things you really don't know what it's about. You're still trying to figure it out. We break it down completely. Okay. So if you're tired of hype, actually, you want real estate that works, verified, co-owned, or joint venture, reach out. Let me help you invest smarter. We have a couple of properties that we are co-owning, we are doing joint venture with, and they are verified. These are verified properties that, for example, we have what we call Velmari Heights. Velmari Heights are luxury shortlet investment units. Most of you don't know there's a buzz around shortlets, and mostly in a saturated market. So what we do is in Velmari Heights, what Velmari Heights is about is a shortlet development in Eneka GRA, Port Harcourt. Now, the target buyers for these shortlets is high net worth individuals, diaspora investors, working class professionals, and joint venture and JV partners. Okay, what are the things about Velmari Heights? Velmari Heights is in one of the fastest developing residential areas in Port Harcourt, surrounded by infrastructure, gated estates, government interest. There is even very close proximity to the Salvation Ministry's cathedral that is about to be completed, and it's going to be like a tourist point in Port Harcourt. It's very close to the airport. It's next to the major highway, close straight to a bar road, and a lot of other central urban demand zones. And location is the first rule of smart real estate. Velmari Heights nails it with this because it's unbelievable. Now, if you know how important it is to have real estate that pays you, and that's why I'm not too keen about purchasing and getting lands and all of that. I'm more keen about getting a property that begins to pay you from day one, and that's only possible with this kind of investments because they are complete investments that you buy and begin to get money or get returns from almost immediately. Now we have off-plan pricing that is available now. Studio apartments for as low as 15 million off plan. Yes, studio apartments. And I kid you not, you could see the videos, we could send you pictures for you to see what it looks like. And then you know what we're talking about. These are just initial market price. Within the next year or two maximum, next year or two, they are projected to hit up to 30 million plus at the moment they are completed. So investors who buy early, they enjoy what we call capital appreciation. Even before the project is finished, your money already is times two. Your investment is already worth times two. So you can compare it to some similar furnished or finished units in Port Harcourt. The minimum you get is 35 million for this same value of property as at now. So you see that we are bringing it to you at a lesser rate where you can easily take advantage. Now, the Velmari Heights is a short income model, and that's how some, not all, some of our properties are managed even in Lagos. It will be operated as a fully managed short let Airbnb property. Okay, we chose Port Harcourt because the market is still relatively virgin for short let and Airbnb properties, still really relatively untapped. And there is a high monthly rental income from corporate stays because it is very close to the city center. You can easily get from here to Rumibia Kane to Transamadi and other areas in Port Harcourt. It's almost like the Ikeja of Port Harcourt because proximity to the airport, proximity to other city centers is there. So Velmari Heights will be operated fully as a fully managed short let slash Airbnb property. Investors can expect their monthly rental income. And we handle the furnishing, the guest checking, the cleaning, the bookings. All you just do is just earn. So what we are doing is we're turning luxury apartments into cash flow machines for you. Now, there is an optional crowdfunding or co-ownership model that is available on these lots and some of our other developments. So in the crowdfunding slots, what we do is you invest from, you have a group of friends, maybe 20 of you, invest 1 million to get one property. So it's like a shared co-owned property, but the returns or the annual ROI is now shared amongst the owners between 12 to 16%. That's the expected ROI per year, 12 to 16%. This is not a um, model that you expect 100% return every year, but you still have your land value, your property value intact. This is just what comes on what you invested. There's a transparent agreement, the payout structure, site visit access. It's your property. You can come to it anytime. You can check it anytime. You can even have the doors, or you can manage it the way you want. Okay. You can decide how you want to run it. It's your property. For the co-ownership model, though, it now becomes a property that belongs to maybe 20, 10, 5 people, depending on the number of people that came together to crowdfund one unit. So now what are the benefits of this? Number one, you have capital appreciation. The property you bought at 15 million today is not going to be 15 million in 6 months' time. It's not going to be 15 million in 2 months' time even. Because unlike land, this is a property you're buying and the location is prime. Location is prime. The infrastructure is prime. There's a third road up to the property. Yes, a third road, a government third road up to the gates of your property. So you're not going to be bothering with how do I get it to go higher. It's already high. And there's a monthly rental income that comes from visitors and people who stay on your property. Now, you have an optional exit plan after completion at market price. You can just decide that, okay, I bought it at 15 million. Now, at this point, I just want to sell. Guaranteed 100% ROI, because at that point, it's selling for 30 million minimum. Okay, and you have shared use access if requested. Then there's a legal documentation, you have the investor agreement, and under the brand Frangipani, you can go to sleep after you make your payments or after you invest. Why is Velmari different? One, we have fewer units, it's exclusive. There is a common gym, there is a pool, okay, and only investors that are trusted, people with a track record, people we know. We vet people. It's not just that, okay, it's an investment is open to all. No, we vet people we allow on our investment plans and our portfolio. We have to be sure that we're actually getting people that have no record of criminality. Very important to us. And then this is managed by a brand with track record in development, in marketing, in finishing. Frangipani, we are a household name when it comes to premium finishing. So you can rest easy knowing that these people know what they do, what they're doing. They've been in this business for over 15 years and they've been thriving at it. So they know what they are doing. Now, there are other short-let co-ownership models for those of you that might not be interested in investing in Port Harcourt at the moment. Though Port Harcourt is at the point where the only way it goes now is up, because there's a lot of the ring road just goes through the Velmari Heights property. It just goes through a road that links to it to tell you how prime it is. Apart from being a central point, you can also from it now link other local governments in Rivers State. So Port Harcourt, that location is prime. Now, those who want rental income but can't buy property alone, you want real estate. I need real estate. You've always been dreaming about investing in real estate, but because of the salary you earn, because of how much you make, all real estate properties are usually beyond your reach, because maybe you don't have enough to actually buy a property alone. Now, this is for you. We have a short-led co-ownership model where you join a group of verified investors to co-own income-generating apartments. We verify them for you. We have a pool of them already ready, but there's a minimum entry. The minimum entry is between 3 to 5 million, depending on the location of the property and where the property is. Between 3 to 5 million naira, that's the minimum entry for this kind. And then the ROI, the return on investment you should expect, is between 10 to 15% annually for completed units. All locations, we have locations in Lekki, we have locations in Port Harcourt, we have locations in Abuja. We manage it 100%. It's not like we're handing you over to another company. Frangipani manages 100%, furnishing, hosting, maintenance, guest handling. So you own real estate without managing stress, without managing tenants. That is one way for you to get into real estate. For those of you that have low income earnings, not enough to actually go into real estate full time. Okay. Now, option B for landowners. You have land, you have no funds to develop. We also have something for you. We have what we call joint venture partnerships, JVs. For all you landowners, you partner with Frangipani not to sell your land. What we do is we build residential and short-let apartments. We provide the capital, we provide the team, we provide the construction, we provide management. You will stay as co-owner, and then you earn income from the completed property. From day one, there's the full legal documentation and a clear sharing model. So instead of allowing your land sit idle, JV it, let's build it and earn from it. That's how easy it is. So those two models are available for you if you're interested. Now, if you're ready to grow your money through real estate without the stress, Velmari Heights or any of our co-investment models are your best bet. What you can do is you DM me now. In DM me, you write the word invest. Write the word invest and DM me now. Or if you DM me, you can also call. If you need to reach immediately, you can also call wherever you are. You can call me from wherever you are. Call the number that I'm going to be displaying on your screen right now. Is +234 +234 +234 90 909999, 9 in 4 places, 8301. I'll take it again. Plus 234 90 9999 8301. So you can always call that number on your screen. You can always call that number on your screen. I'll have you scroll through past now. So those are the numbers you can easily call. You reach out any time of the day, send a text, a WhatsApp, call any of those numbers and DM the word invest. Oh, I'm interested in a real estate opportunity from FTM Learn. How do I proceed? And then we'll take it from there. You can always come to go through and listen to all we have said. And stay safe out there. Avoid investments that will make you cry tomorrow. So for those of you always real estate in Nigeria is a scam, that's the true picture of things. It's not like it's not a scam. It's just they were not properly educated. They didn't listen, they didn't read their fine prints, they didn't investigate, they just were carried away with the value or the cost. Oh, there's a land in Dubai for $30,000. Ah, that's very cheap. Oh, let's go buy. No, most times they're usually caveats, there are usually conditions attached to that. And because they are too excited, you find out that people don't listen. People do not bother listening. People do not bother. And then the next thing they come up
I
and
would
begin to make
just
statements
want
like,
to briefly
oh, these
talk
people, they
about certain things. You see,
I'm telling you that this is what
I
happened
used
to this
to
person. It's not
argue
like
with my professor.
just a moment. It's not like his money was taken and he wasn't giving value or he wasn't giving anything. I'm very certain that this was what happened to him. If you watch the video from the beginning, you get what I'm saying. Because even in the property I told you that we invested in that Dangote Refinery Road, uh, after a while, they cut down the size of the land from 600 square meters down to 450. Do you know why? Because all of a sudden, the government decided to do a road, and they were going to do the road through that property. Now it appreciates the value of that property because once there's a major road by your property or by an estate, that estate is very expensive automatically. Okay. So, but at this point now, let's say they have allocated the estate 600 square meters per each investor or per each person that paid, and they have allocated the estate to carry like 1,000 people. All of a sudden now they are losing about 1 hectare or two from the total size of the land because the government has just done a road across it. Who do you expect will bear the cost for that? Definitely it will be the investors. Okay? It will be the investors. It will be the investors. They are the ones that will bear the cost. So when that happens, and I'm sure that's what happened in his
On
case,
the
I
topic
really
why
don't know him.
investment,
I don't know him. I don't know the company he bought from. I just follow the trend online, and then I was able to deduce that this is actually what must have happened to this person. The person doesn't understand the investment model of real estate, land banking, and estate allocation, which I explained in this live. If you watch from the beginning, you see that I explained it fully for everybody who needs to grasp it. And then because the person doesn't know about it, the person just feels like, oh, you cheated me, you've reduced my land size, you've done this, you've done that. But you also put yourself in the shoes of the real estate developer and other customers. You've sold, for example, 1,000 plots of land. That's what's on the whole estate. And you've sold the 1,000 plots to 1,000 people. All of a sudden, government is coming and they are cutting about 300 plots or 200 plus from it. What that means is that you still need to satisfy the 1,000 people that paid you for those plots. So the only option left to the developer at that point is to reallocate. I'm not holding brief for anybody, but you need to be reasonable too. It's a business they're running. And they invested to get that land. Most of the time, they bought those land without even being sure people will buy. But it's a gamble for them, and they did, and it paid off. Now, what I would have suggested, or what any company would have done, would have been okay, because we are reducing the land size, we're also going to shave off some form of some fees from your development levy, or we're going to give you a compensation or something. That would have been better, though, so that everybody shares in whatever loss that might come. But I don't know what happened. I don't know how they decided to, you know, end or conclude their what's it called? Their deal. Well, for this man to be this bitter, the video went viral. Everybody watched it online, even in different countries. And for him to be this bitter, I don't know. Maybe either he doesn't really understand the model, or there's something behind it. Because this is simple mathematics. They've reduced the plot. So because they've reduced the plot, it makes it impossible for the developer to meet up with his obligations anymore. At that point, the only sensible thing to do is to reallocate plots by reducing the size available to all the 1,000 initial investors who had bought the plot, so that at least everybody still has a piece of that estate. And that's what they do. But if you don't know and understand this land banking model, it's just like you buy a land. Even if you buy a land from a community now, or from a family today, and tomorrow the government comes and says they want to do a road through that land, you can't go back to the family and begin to tell them that, oh, you must pay me for that land. That you people, they are not the government. That's beyond them. You've bought. The best that happens in that case is if you perfected your papers, government gives you a paltry amount. Do you understand? They give you a paltry amount. And that's why I say there's a lot of misinformation about real estate, probably because many people don't want to tell people the truth, that this is what is involved in it, this is what you're going to get, this is what you're going to have to do before they get involved in real estate. And because of that, you have a lot of dissatisfied people who now make it seem like, oh, real estate is a scam. Oh, this, oh, that. Man. So, like I said, I hope you're getting value. I hope you're getting value. For those of you that are just joining, those of you that have been with me for a while, forgot to ask. I've just been on and on and on and on. There's so much to share. I didn't want this live to go beyond 30 minutes, so I just had to quickly rush through everything. And then that's the number you can always call if you need to have any more clarifications or anything. You can always call that number to reach, or to invest and all of that. So that being said,
As not
I
to
don't
move
think
to
it's right to call
developing
real estate in
countries,
Nigeria a scam.
despite the fact
Okay?
that they have robust of
That's not correct.
high returns on investment compared with the developed countries around the world. And a good one of the arguments against this thing, that supports this argument why investments do not move towards the developing countries, is because the property right is weak. There are no property right. There are very weak institutions, and that is why rational investors do not want to invest in those kind of economies. And I will give you a very practical instance that supports this argument. And this is my illustration now. You see, 5 years ago, I thought of investing in Nigeria, real estate. Then I got a loan. I applied for a loan, and I put the whole of the loan into the real estate. I have no problem with real estate, and there and then I chose the real estate company that I wanted to invest with, and that was GText Holdings. At that time, it was Stephen Akintayo all over the internet making Facebook posts, time to time advertising his real estate businesses. And I felt a little bit convinced that he was the right person. So I bought two properties, one in Lagos and one in Ibadan. While I was servicing the loan back to the bank, I was supposed to pay this loan within 3 years, and hoping that at the end of that loan, then I will have 2 plots of land to my name. At least I can decide to hold it or do something with it. But shockingly, you will not believe that after I paid this money outrightly with the documentations, they charge me separately for documentations. I am yet to see this land physically. After almost 5 years, I am yet to see the land physically. And as if that is not enough, they started after, though they sent me my documents, deed of assignment, and the survey plan, but the land only up to now have existed on paper. I am yet to see a physical allocation. And after 2 years, after 2 years, I began to demand for physical allocation of this property. And they started saying today, tomorrow, the access road is not good. This is not good. Today, tomorrow. Then I gave up. Only to discover shockingly, after another year, which makes 3 years now, that one of the land does not actually exist. I think it has a legal litigation on it. But interestingly, this company, GText Holdings, owned by Stephen Akintayo, popular Stephen Akintayo, didn't reach out to me to tell me that the land has a litigation, or whether or not they need to refund my money back, or maybe reallocation. Instead of that, they started demanding developmental fee that were not part of the agreement. We didn't agree on developmental fee because by my understanding, I paid outrightly, and I believe developmental fee would have been included in the amount because it was never part of the discussion. You understand? But interestingly, despite the fact that this land has a litigation, as they claim, that means it doesn't exist, they were still charging me for developmental fee. I have the emails. They were still charging me for developmental fee. Then one thought came to my mind, are they charging developmental fee on a land that does not exist? What happens to honesty? Okay, what happens to honesty? Why are they not coming out to their client to tell them that this land has issue? And to crown it all, they resized my property downward from 600 square meters to 400 square meters, single-handedly, without my consent. Because by my understanding, if you are in a contract, such as a sale of land, and you have bought it, if there is anything that will happen to that land, the two parties must come together and agree and sign an addendum to show that, okay, this is the agreement.
I think you've gotten
one party to a
bulk of the
contract
information I wanted you to get from everything he said. Now, listening to this video now, I'm sure I don't want to begin to play. He's becoming very emotional, and I don't want to begin to play the complete things for everybody. But you've gotten the entire picture of what happened from after listening to how I explained the land banking model and everything. That's why I didn't want you to watch the video from the beginning completely. I wanted you to listen to me, and then you can now listen to the video at the end, and then you can now better understand where he's coming from. Because it's just as I told you, he probably bought it from a marketer who didn't inform him properly about all the fees associated with it. And then maybe along the way now, a development came and crisscrossed the land. And now they don't have to now be a reallocation, or they have to reduce the size originally allocated to him. You see, it's just a classic example of what I said earlier on. Because sometimes they go to buy this land in areas that are undeveloped. Because the area is undeveloped, government development hasn't come there. So you don't even know the roads that are going to be used. You don't know where the road is going to pass. You don't even know how the road is going to move. The plan for government, the plan of government for that area has not been unveiled. You went there first. Usually how development works is the government goes to a place, begins development, and then people step in, okay? Now, what you are doing, or what real estate developers are doing with real estate land banking model is they are taking developments first there and let the government catch up with us later by the time people have gone there. You see, so that's why it's like they are forcing development. They are forcing the land to appreciate. And that's why they can dictate the price they dictate, because at that point the land is close to next to useless at that point. There's no government infrastructure, there's no government whatever there. It's now left for the real estate developer now to now maybe do a small access to that plot and then begin to sell. So, but the moment people begin to buy and there's a lot of influx of purchase, people have invested money in bought land in such places, government is now forced to look in that direction. Now people are moving there because where people move to is where development naturally moves to. People usually will move to areas the government has developed. That's the model. Now, the government has not developed a certain place, but a real estate developer that has some money has gone ahead to develop it. That's why they are partners in development in every nation. Real estate development is only in Nigeria that you don't see them regulating that industry as it ought to be regulated. Now, the real estate development has gone into that place, forced the development, so to speak. And because they forced the development, it now makes it easy for people to move there because other people are moving there. And at that point, the government now has to pay attention to that area. We have a lot of people moving here. What's going on there? Oh, okay, let's do a road for them. Oh, okay. In fact, let's start. Then development now comes to that place. You see, so that's how it works. So, not really is a scam. If you didn't watch from the beginning, go ahead and watch this video. And if you really understood what I said, you got value, please don't hesitate to tell me you got value and what you got, the value you got. Okay, please don't hesitate to tell that to me quickly. Okay, so till the next time we'll see on live, it's FDM Learn, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now, and stay winning, stay